Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mole Lotus, so named after those who've had to start a little bit further down than just the muddy waters in order to blossom into the beautiful lotus flower. I haven't posted or done an episode in a couple of weeks because I have been feeling shit. I have been feeling physically unwell, but I also think quite mentally unwell. I don't know about where you are, but I'm in Australia and the fucking arse end down in Tassie, and it is cold and it's miserable, and it's really when people with a seasonal association disorder, otherwise known as SAD, really start to feel that slowing down. And we've also had all the planets in retrograde, including that little bestie of mine, Mercury. Now, looking back on the episode that I did about Mercury retrograde, I felt very naive. I feel like it's one of those things that you cannot enjoy it because it is so... I had a lot of things go wrong in my existence, which was very frustrating. And I was very much trying to just go, okay, all right, what's this teaching me? Until I eventually I really just had to break down and realize that I have no control over anything. You can't dodge whatever it is. It's expansion. You don't know what the lesson is until you've figured out what the lesson is, and that's usually after the bad stuff has occurred and you've been incredibly, incredibly uncomfortable. But, for me, I feel like I've been going on this long journey for such a long time, trying to be perfect. And I'm not. But what I did learn is something that I'd love to share with you guys today. So all these planets are in retrograde. There's all these planets doing wonderful things. There's things moving into new eras and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't understand because I am not an astrologer. And there's plenty of people online who are astrologers. But from my personal experience and what the gifts that I have, I guess that's where my message comes in and how it is that I'm going to convey that to you today. And everything that I've been through over the past few weeks since I've posted last is sort of the way that I come to these conclusions with a little bit of help from a couple of deities or so. Now, I got to a point the week before last where I just gave up. I was just in despair, I think is the right words. I mean, for me, I feel like that I've been, proactively, if not a little bit too diligently, trying to do the inner work and heal so that I can have successful relationships with, my friends, my chosen family, possible love interests, and most importantly with my own children. As well as feel successful with what I want to do with my life. And I think if anyone that's been married and did the whole traditional wife thing, sometimes you can feel a little bit behind because you realize that was a dumb thing to do. Not that you weren't, doing the best thing for your children, what you thought at the time, but as a human being and filling your own cup first, from that perspective, it's not a very good idea. It's terrible. You're just this supporting character in other people's lives, and it's not very fulfilling. It's a little bit dull, and you are then made very vulnerable, both physically and financially. And we've discussed this before. And I have spoken a lot. It wasn't my intention to talk so much about the reintegration of the feminine aspects of every quality from the shadow, but it seems to be what I'm immersed in this year. So I'm taking you guys with me. So I'm huge on the shadow work, and the more I do it, the more I love it and find it really powerful work. However, there's only so far it's going to get you. The other thing that I think is really important is to be self-validating. Now, what is that? That's where you are the one that you seek wisdom and counsel for, because you're the only one that knows you as good as you do. You cannot not rhyme that sentence. Anyway, however, when we're raised by our caregivers in institutions, we're taught to mask, and there are certain behaviours and aspects of our personalities that are deemed inappropriate, and so we hide them away. But we also need to check with what everyone else is doing to make sure that we've got our handle on what it is appropriate and not appropriate, right? And so we learn how to seek validation, seek wisdom, seek help making decisions from others around us. It might look like emulating certain influences that you see online. That's what it looks like these days. Perhaps once it would be seeking counsel with your reverend or pastor or whatever religious figure you were involved with in whatever religious institution. You may be someone who is a lot more spiritual and will seek a guru, a G-U-O-U, and we have our parents and we have our friends, our partners, whoever it is. We're just like, is this, am I, should I, do you think, blah, blah, blah. And we seek that wisdom, right? But it's actually a lot more ingrained, and I really had to come face to face with that through this whole Mercury retrograde and the shadow period. Don't forget that part. Why do they just call it the shadow period? Why don't we just say, look, it's going to be shit from this date to this date. So just, buckle up and forget about your electronics and your money. So what did I discover? So if you don't know me personally, and we are talking to each other online like this, this year I quit my job in March. Very scary, very huge. Didn't have another job to go to, but partly because I was frustrated at the workplace that I was working at. Another part was that I was unwell. And another part is that because I was so unwell for such a long time, that anything that I wanted to do with my life that suited my emotional and spiritual and desirous needs was put to the wayside because there was no energy left after working and doing my responsibilities with my children. So part of it was, I just need to rest. I just need to rest to get this over and done with. Figure out what's going on with me so I can be in good health so that I can work and be a responsible parent as well as pursue my passions and dreams. I guess dating as well, there's a little bit in that, and I will sort of hit more on those things a little bit more. But when we are self-validating, it just means that you are having a relationship with your own intuition and are able to recognize the things that are truly desirous to you and to take the little steps to go towards those things. Now, a lot of people know that there are angel numbers or spiritual numbers, these things that we see on the microwave and when we look at the clock radio, or we see number plates and there's all these repeating numbers. And if that has happened to you, it's usually you start with seeing 1111. Yeah, I know. You go and you just go, what? I feel like that's cool at first, and then you start to go a little bit crazy and just going, I think I'm going crazy. What the heck is this? Now there's the Meidenhofer effect. I don't know if I said that right. Where you see repeating numbers, and because you see it, and you maybe it excites you or you assign meaning to it, then your brain starts looking for it and pointing it out to you. Look, there's 1111. Phenomenon. So it's the Bieder-Meinhof phenomenon. That's what that is. Anyway, yes, you can, even if you attribute these seeing and numbers and things like that, and you go, oh, that's the science behind it, it doesn't make it go away. And if you do look up the meanings of these repeating numbers online, you take into these websites of, oh, this is the angel number, this is what it means. And it's just really wish-washy advice, and it's full of ads that might appeal to somebody who really believes in angel numbers. And I'm not poo-pooing angels. I've had my experience with angels, but they're not fluffy cloud things. So when you start to see 1111 on the clock, it means, you know, go back to your authentic self and start doing things and start doing things that are going to please you. Stop wasting time on this collective agreement. It's usually at a point in your life where you've realized you've got the fancy car and the good job, and you've had the kids, and you have a really nice fridge that you salivated over, and you realize that none of that's actually really fulfilling, and that you know, there are other things that you would actually like to do with your day and your time. And that's when you start seeing 1111, and it's like, all right, well, you know, some people say, oh, make a wish. No, it don't work like that. It means start doing things. If you wanted to be an astronaut, go and join the local planetarium. Go and start there. It's a clue. These little desires are our clues towards our real purpose, what our authentic selves are supposed to be. The characters Blobby God sent you here as, so that Blobby God could experience you through that particular pathway. Go find the pathway. All right, but then so for me personally, this was one of those moments where I was just like, right, okay, I gotta stop. I need to stop doing this because I am feeling close to burnout. I think I was past burnout, actually. I was like this Frankenstein putting back together every day and pretending that I was passionate about something that I'd lost passion in because of certain reasons. Now, so it was March and we're now in early August, and I have been doing things. I mean, the angels and deities and Blobby God have been asking me to share my experience with you guys. That is what I have been doing. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't ever intend to sell courses. This is just purely for pleasure, right? But I've also been doing lots of other projects like modeling and photo shoots and making art and, looking for things that really excite me to do and just pursuing them. I have no idea where it's taking me, but I am anticipating going there. However, the thing is, when you don't work, you don't earn any money. And it's all fun and good to pursue your dreams, but it's not very fiscally responsible. So, I have been looking for work, but also have been incredibly unwell, and it has made it really, really tricky. So I did start off at a new job at one point and realized that it was the exact same scenario as the one I just left. And so for me, one of the reasons that I left is because I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. I'm a creative person. I'm really good at business. It's one of my skill sets. I'm excellent at customer service. I'm this and this and that. And, because I'm autistic, I believe in right and wrong. And so I like to follow the rules, but these are also the logical rules. And when you come across people that are not following those logical rules, but they're your superior, it makes it really, really hard to exist and to show up every day and beat your head against a brick wall. And so when I started this new job, my body just absolutely exploded. I had all these aches and pains, and I got COVID, and then pretty bad gastro. Anyway, and my enthusiasm for working for another bloody corporation company, soulless, bloody end-stage capitalist sort of scenario, has not been appealing to me. So, yeah. Now, health-wise, I am somebody who exists with a uterus. I present as somebody who exists with a uterus. And so going to the doctor and saying, I don't feel well, is a little bit dangerous. GPs are sort of gatekeepers to people who are specialists, and that could give you a lot of insight into your body. And for women, we're labeled as hysteric, or we're hypochondriacs, or, it's probably just your period. Or, the most common thing that doctors say to women is, I'm just going to chalk this down to anxiety. It's probably anxiety. Oh, you've started lactating for no reason? Definitely anxiety. Let's not do the right tests, or let me not take your symptoms seriously, blah, 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 blah. And especially not if you have been tracking your symptoms and, really sort of researching what it could mean or how you could fix it, because for me, I'm somebody who likes to fix things naturally with diet and exercise, or supplementation when I can't get everything I need in my diet, because I don't want to be unwell. I've got a lot to do. I want to do stuff. And for me, going to the doctor is like the last resort, because I've had such shitty experiences. Once I had a doctor, not only was the diagnosis, but also the prescription was eat an apple a day. Oh, don't forget the glass of water. Okay. Thank you for that one. That was amazing. I actually, as polite as I have traditionally been, not so much anymore, I tore up the piece of paper. I'm like, I'm not signing this. You're not getting paid for that. That was terrible. Stormed out of the doctor's office. Yeah, anyway. So going to the doctor is sort of a last resort because you aren't taken seriously. And this issue that I've been having has been happening over the past 2.5 years, and really just ran out of energy and it wasn't happening. So I have been negotiating with my GP, and it has been exceptionally upsetting to go through that experience. And you finally get a good GP, and then you may suggest something because you haven't handled your GP well. And you're like, look, I noticed this on my blood test, and I put it together with this bit on my blood test. Could it mean this possibly? And they're like, how dare you suggest that you know more than me? But it could mean something. And I'm like, yeah, the thing that I just was about to say before you cut me off. Yeah, that's what it could mean. I don't know, but you go ahead and play roulette with my life. I love that for me. Anyway, so what I've found in regards to my health and in regards to working is that I haven't been self-validating. Now, with my job, the position that I was in, I worked really hard to get the business to a certain point, and that I thought that it would be wonderful evidence to present to my bosses to sort of suggest that maybe I could have more money, because the cost of living is exorbitant, and I am a single parent, and rent's high, electricity's hthe food's high. I do get child support, but that is very minimal compared to the level that my husband gets, or my ex-husband gets paid, because I supported him to build his career while mine was very much diminished. And so the cost of living is something that has caused me to go backwards financially whilst trying to pursue something that I'm actually passionate about in career. And so if I do a good job, right, I'm going to present that I'm worth more money because I've brought more money into the business. Except that was never going to happen. They were never going to acknowledge the good work that I'd done. And they were never intending to pay me more than I was getting paid. And I discovered this after I'd put in my resignation, that there were other people who had been in my position who went through the same thing, did a great job, went to do the performance review, and were told, no, you don't get more money for that. No, you don't get to make the decisions about these things that affect your whole freaking day. However, I had come across one gentleman in particular who had done my job and was paid a shitload of money to do it. Nowhere near what I was getting paid. So there is a little bit in that's really frustrating. The fact that my ex-husband, whose career I built, whose children I raised, whose, meals I cooked, who never had to lift a finger, who then in turn wouldn't do the same thing for me, which meant that our marriage came to an end because that was unfair. But when we went to get divorced, there's no legal aid for women. So a lot of times women, they decide to leave their husbands because fuck it, right? You're obviously not going to come to the party, and we're not going to do this evenly. I'm just going to move on because obviously I want to pursue my life. We all die soon. And then you go to do that, but because they're the ones that have earned all the money, they're the ones in control of the bank accounts and things like that. And we didn't have a lot of money, but he had a lot of money to access lawyers. And I had money once, but if I'd gone down the route of lawyers, there would have been no money for anyone. So in my mind, I felt like, okay, I'm not going to fight this. I'm not going to waste money on lawyers because it costs $1,000 to send an email, and that email is going to be ignored by their lawyer. So what? So you're just going to burn through all your money sending petulance to each other? I'm just like, keep the money. This is what we got. That's fine. Spend the money on the children. Do not waste it giving it to lawyers, right? There's no legal aid. I mean, we did a mediation, but he paid for the mediator. And I don't feel like he mediated anything. I explained why I was upset and angry and how this had turned into something that wasn't fair. And the custody arrangement that he wanted didn't suit my work hours. And so then I wasn't able to work as much. And so then, and that continued on. So I had to find different ways to maybe bump up how much I was earning in the industry that I wanted to work in under the limitations that I was given because of the custody arrangement. So I feel like I am getting to a point with all of this, okay? So we've got the doctor who you've got to really be careful with, and that includes female GPs. And there are good female GPs out there, and there's fantastic male GPs as well. They're just not very common. Then we've got the boss who is like, yeah, I get to choose how much you're worth. And then there is, the patriarchy. And I mean, my ex-husband's not a bad person at all. It's just, marriage is a patriarchal design, and it does not favor women. The fact that there was no legal support for women and who are leaving their husbands from a traditional sort of wife kind of point of view, we're all encouraged to do it. I mean, that's the right thing to do for the babies. And even if you are married and you want to keep your job, you're pretty much sacrificing the whole of your wage to go towards childcare. Make it make sense. So why would you, like for us, my ex-husband and I, it didn't make sense to give our children to strangers to raise in those first little years if it was going to cost us more than I was earning. Anyway, so then, yeah, you've got society. And then I think, what was one more? When you're dating men and, it feels quite performative, like you're auditioning. And I tell you, these men who are on these dating apps and you're middle-aged, it's not pretty out there. And so you see somebody who might actually be worth dating, and then they're the ones with the upper power. And you're just like, what? So you're the only one on this whole site that I'm actually attracted to, and you've got your pick of the bunch, and you're dictating to me the terms of a relationship that you'll be having with me, not the other way around. So yeah, it's just a lot, right? And if you're somebody who's learning how to self-validate, these are really huge areas where women aren't allowed to self-validate. I can't go to that boss and say, actually, I'm worth this much, and it's not fair that I'm not paid a fucking living wage, and yet I'm killing myself trying to perform for you. You go to the doctor and you're like, I'm unwell and I need to rest. Can we figure out what it is so that I can sort out any legalities? Like when I quit my job, I went to Centrelink we have in Australia, where if you're unemployed, then you can have a little bit of assistance. Now, because I had a tiny bit of savings and because I'd chosen to quit my job, they weren't going to pay me anything until just recently. So yeah, I've had to hustle to get through those months. And even now that they have started to support me financially, it's really not much. It's not covering anything. And so it's a very slippery slope of, goodbye savings, goodbye any money that I had as a safety net. I hope my car doesn't fucking break down or anything. So if the doctor had said, yeah, look, yeah, you're really unwell, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Here's a doctor's note, a sick certificate, whatever it is. But they don't. They treat you like a hysterical hypochondriac woman. Even though if you looked at my medical history, that I'm only in there every 2 years. So I can't validate the way I feel in my body. And in my of the whole time that I have been out of work and not feeling well, I haven't felt comfortable enough to rest because I didn't have that little piece of paper or that little nod from the doctor saying, you should rest. You should rest. You should absolutely do as little as possible other than self-care and rest. Well, rest is self-care, but things like, you got to keep up with your exercise and eat well and, don't lie in bed all day drinking wine out of a bottle. As weirdly fun as that sounds, it doesn't actually. So can't self-validate when it comes to how I feel health-wise. I can't self-validate how much I'm monetarily worth. I can't self-validate the effort and sacrifice that I put into a financial relationship with my ex-husband because there's nobody to back me. And if I were to stand up and say, whoa, I need more money here, this is not a fair arrangement, so I can't self-validate how I've just spent the last 15 years. And what was the last one? And I can't just validate to men that I deserve to be dated a particular way or treated a particular way, or I'm worth this much, right? And so if you've seen a previous episode where I'm talking about my self-worth and self-esteem and what that means and those final little cogs that turned in my brain and realized, oh my gosh, yes, I am very worthy. I'm quite exceptionally worthy and I do deserve all of the things, right? And so I just thought by knowing that and feeling it for the first time and being able to recognize it within myself, that things will just magically start falling into place. No, you gotta go and do the work about it, apparently. So the whole retrograde planets doing stuff leading up to the Lionsgate portal, which people will sort of sprout. Oh, it's a portal of wishes coming true. It's never happened to me, not once. But what it can mean, especially this year and the year of the fire horse, that year where we were all told we're going to go ahead and do the things that we wanted to do and it's going to be great. Yeah, we don't realize the type of work we have to do to get to that point. And so it's about, I feel, the universe just sort of smacking you in the head until you start doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And so you might have the realization, but you've got to take the steps. And what does that look like? Oh my God. So the day of despair, I like to call it. I'm going to the doctor. I've been waiting to see a specialist. I'm still unwell. In fact, I'm getting more and more unwell as the days go by. I'm going for job interviews for things that I'm far too overqualified for, right? I am trying to meditate and say things to the camera that I feel have been beneficial to me. But at that point, I was like, I cannot speak with conviction about anything. I can't. I feel like I'm at the wit's end, right? And the week leading up to the despair day, I cracked the screen on my camera. My iPad was broken. These are tools of which I use for my creative pursuits, right? And my savings is diminished, but I have to replace these things. Otherwise, I can't do those creative pursuits. And I validated myself enough to go, well, it is worthy for me to spend the money to fix my tools because it is what I love to do and I deserve to do it. even if I'm not earning money right now, even if I'm not being productive right now, as society sees productive, I backed myself and spent the money and got those things fixed. And it terrified me. And it made me feel so unworthy. Like the universe is saying, you shouldn't be doing that. No, you shouldn't do that. You should go back in your little box and fuck yourself. That's what it felt like to have that happen to me with everything else that was going on. And so I go to the doctor, and I went because I saw some things in the blood test that he did last, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think that could mean this thing. Grain of salt, Googled things, but thought that might be worthy, and it explained a lot of the symptoms that I was experiencing, etc. and so forth. So I was like, I'd been missing my car key for like 5 weeks, and I finally found it that morning, and I was like, this is a very good sign. A very good sign. So I go to the doctor, and he was like, he didn't even let me finish my sentence. He's just talking over the top of me, and I'm just like, and then on the way out of the appointment, he goes, like if this round of testing comes back negative, we might have to consider that it might be something psychological going on. Oh, I loved hearing that. That was fantastic. But I did have I have a 6 monthly check-in with my psychiatrist, and she was like, you're amazing. Oh my God, what are you up to? This is great. I love watching you do whatever it is that you do. So, a part of me was like, I can't accept that. Don't like to hear it. So I left the doctor, and I felt quite shit. But before I did, I got a phone call from downstairs, my neighbors downstairs, and they were like, oh yeah, there's all this water coming into our house from your house. And I'm just like, so the day before, there was a leaking tap, and it started leaking hot water, and that's very expensive. I called the real estate several times. Nobody answered. I sent emails. None of them were replied to. Eventually swapped the hot and the cold tap over. All was well, until I could get somebody to come in and fix it, or I could fix it myself. But what happened while I was at the doctor, I was halfway through washing the dishes and then had to run out the door. I left the plug in the sink, and the cold water tap burst off, and just filled the sink and continued to do so. So by the time I got home, where I'd spent all this money the week before fixing my technologies and tools, I did not get the validation I needed from the doctor. The house is flooded, but I pay all this money in rent to live near the school that my kids need to go to, and then I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to have to probably pay for this whole roof to be fixed. And getting job interviews for shitty places. I think I had a job interview that day, and I'm just going, oh my God, this is like the lowest of the low job that I could possibly go for, right? As someone as experienced and accomplished as I am, and the things that I'm capable of doing, and I'm going to go for the shittiest job. And I was just like, okay, I feel like I should have just not bothered or tried or done anything. I'm, screaming at the sky, what more do you want from me? I do all the meditation, I do the healing, I do the shadow work, I do the big brave things, I go towards the stuff, I go, I'm trying to validate myself. And I felt like you can't. There is certain areas you can't validate yourself as a woman. What are you supposed to do in that situation? I just, and it's not like I could go back to work. I've been in bed the past 2 weeks. Just, if I have to get up and do something, I need to take a nap. And that could be go for a walk, nap. Oh, I got an hour and a half modeling. Oh God, I need a nap. Just that kind of thing. So that's really frightening. Can you imagine trying to go and do 8 hours of work on your feet every day if you can't even go out for a half-hour walk without having to have a nap afterwards? So yeah, and then you just can't validate. But then, okay, so Is it validation? Is it self-validation? Is that my responsibility to be self-validating when I'm up against all of this shit? Yeah, apparently it is. And that's why it kept hitting me in the face. So I was right. I was right to replace my tools, even though they're expensive and even though I probably don't have the money, or I mean, I have the money. Clearly I have the money. I'm not in debt, but I have the means to do it, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to replace that money. So that's a big, scary risk to take, right? However, it's passionate to me. It is how I exist in the world. It's the joy that I get, and I am entitled to joy. I'm fucking entitled to joy. Of course I'm entitled to joy. It don't have to be joyous all the time, but I need some. And then I realized that I just live without joy majority of my time, and when I do experience it, I have so much guilt around it, or fear, because it's about to come back at me. It's like, well, you enjoyed yourself for 45 seconds. You felt proud, or you felt excited, or you were looking forward to something. Well, guess what? I'm going to smash your phone, and now you have to pay $500 to fix it. Fuck yourself. So that I'm just like, oh, well, maybe there's some shadow work there. All right, integrate joy with misery. I came across a whole thing in regards to that, but I think I might do a separate episode on it. Very interesting, very interesting. So, yeah, I had to validate my joy and my right to pursue joy. And after that episode, the despair day, I actually rested. The past couple of weeks, I have really rested. And I don't mean sitting in bed and working. I have been just not doing anything. And because I just need to. And it is perfectly okay. When you are sick and you cannot do anymore, that you don't need your doctor to validate how you feel in your body. You are enough to know when you are unwell and you need to rest, and you deserve to fucking rest. Because I have not stopped. I have not stopped for years. And especially the separation and divorce and that constant, oh shit, what's going to happen? Fuck, trying to keep a job, trying to earn more money out of the fucking job, trying to do all the things and be a good thing and pursue your dreams and do the things and, oh my God, be a responsible human being, but also go after your passions because that's what you're spiritually supposed to do. Yeah, I have not stopped. You know, I'm going to validate the fact that I need to rest. And then also moving forward, people offering me jobs or going for jobs. I just sort of walked into that job interview that afternoon defeated and depleted and in despair, and just was truthful and honest and just go, I'm actually good at all of this stuff. And I don't know. Anyway, they offered me the job. And at first I thought, oh, what a shitty job. But when I went to the interview, I realized it would actually be really great. Little bit of work on the side while I did my creative pursuits, and it would be enough for me to survive comfortably for now, right? And the place is beautiful, the people that work there are beautiful, and I'm really excited. And I have been offered another fancy job, and my intuition is saying, don't take that fancy job. No, you know what's going to happen here. Yeah, so that actually worked out. Because I know I'm good, and I absolutely deserve to do whatever it is that I get to do. So part of that is perhaps in the new job, instead of giving them 158%, which is what I normally do, I'm going to give them the exact amount that they pay me. And I don't think they require anything more than just that. To be honest, I think they just need somebody who is going to be there as a bit of glue. nice, great. So I've got a little bit of money coming in. I've got time to pursue my artistic endeavors, and it's a job that's not going to be emotionally or physically demanding, right? The doctor eventually calls me back with the test results, and yeah, I got really low vitamin B12 and low iron, and those are also both things that will contribute to somebody becoming more and more diminished every day if they aren't addressed. And although it wasn't what I suspected it was definitely something that made the doctor look in that direction and discover what it was that was actually going wrong. And so today's the first day where I've been able to get out of bed and exercise and film and just feel like myself again. It's really nice. It's really amazing. But I definitely needed that rest. So and as far as dating men go, I love me. I know what I'm worth. And I swear to God, me have the best time. I do love spending time by myself, and I do love interacting with others in that way. I am a woman who enjoys her own sexuality, and until somebody provides me with an excellent offer, I will continue to pursue it however I pursue it, and I will make that decision along the way. It is perfectly okay for me to ask for my sexual needs to be met. It is also perfectly okay for me to ask for my emotional needs to be met. And if that person doesn't want to do that, and doesn't see me as worthy of either of those things, or a combination of both of those things, well, fuck off. I don't care. I love me. I'm not compromising on my standards. Just fuck off. And that is self-validation, my friends, because there's a whole bunch of sex toys that you can buy that will give you orgasms. It's not the same as being in love with somebody and having a joyous two-way relationship, right? But being in a in a lonely relationship with somebody that you eventually are going to resent isn't the answer. It's just not. I would much prefer to have my emotional needs met by my beautiful, beautiful friends, and my sexual needs catered to by myself. I don't give a fuck. Than to be in a shitty relationship with a man who's not going to respect me or fulfill any of the things that I require from a relationship. Nor judge me for being sexual and desire of sex. You know, there's that relationship of, oh, you didn't wait the obligatory 4 days, so obviously you're not worth my time. It's like, okay, well, that's stupid. And if you're dumb enough to think that, then you're definitely not a match for me, and you would make me bored within minutes. So thank you for playing your hand up front. I feel like relationships should be with two whole people who are balanced between their masculine and feminine, their systole and the other one I said last week. I just want a whole ass human that doesn't want to play games. I sometimes see on Instagram or whatever it is, like people that are like, oh, this is how you get your man. This is how you get a man to do whatever it is that you want. I'm like, I don't want a man like that. I don't want a stupid man that's easily manipulated. I want somebody who's my best friend, who's an equal and is as intelligent or emotionally intelligent as I am, and who would see past something like that really, really quickly and find it kind of gross and not a turn on. Anyway, so what did I need to do? I needed to learn how to actually self-validate. And that is not easy. It's not fucking easy. But I understand my self-worth, and I need to negotiate when I exist in the three-dimensional world that I'm aware of that, and I will not be taken advantage of, and I will not take no, and I will not be made to feel stupid or crazy for any of that. And that means sometimes you're going to have to let go of stuff that you thought you wanted. Because if they're not going to meet you where you deserve to be met, then it's not for you. And that's really hard, because sometimes our hearts are set on stuff. And we think that is the thing that I want. And I've pushed for it and I've worked so hard for it and I've done everything. I've thrown everything at it and it still didn't work. And you feel like it's this investment of time and you just got to let it all go because maybe something better will come along. Yeah, that's tough as shit. That's really hard to do. And that is why it's so uncomfortable. But when you can do that and you can walk around in the world knowing that at any moment somebody's going to cross you, you are going to trust yourself to do the right thing, then maybe some of that anxiety gets to be dumped. I don't have to constantly worry about if I'm being taken advantage of because it doesn't matter. As soon as I recognize that I am, I'm going to say something. Immediately. Almost immediately. Anyway, I have more things planned, but it's a bit of I'm feeling better today, but I really do need to go and take a nap. But, one nap a day is better than 3. So I am on the up and up, and I am going to start this new job next week, and it's maybe 4 hours a day during the time of day that I don't really use for anything else. So I am ecstatic, and I think it's going to be quite a lot. And I also got lots of things that are coming up that I now don't have to cancel because I've got a job. So I am trepidatious about walking forward in, a little bit of joy and excitement. But fuck it. I'm going to enjoy this moment and I'm not going to worry about if it's going to be stolen from me somehow. Anyway, I hope that you guys have survived Mercury retrograde and are, walking towards that Lion's Gate, thinking about what it is that you've got to let go of and what it is that you want to take with you. And who is this person that you're going to walk through that gate as? Because I know that I'm self-validating and I'm somebody who's got a shit ton of self-worth and I'm brave as fuck. That's what I'm taking. All right, peace out. Validate yourself. Validate yourself. Don't worry about what he said. You got to validate yourself. Yeah!